Hello, hello. This is Abigail Barella with Sparkle and Shine Guidance, and this is your Taurus New Moon Oracle. And the wind is very active up here. I had my Yoni Power hat on anyway, so it was very fitting to do this new moon reading up here because Uranus is the wind and air and sudden shifts and changes and just the wind coming in and just like shifting everything. Here, Paco's here and he might be a little annoying because he wants me to throw a stick, but it's okay. And Taurus is the divine feminine, Gaia energy, and Yoni power. And so the new moon in Taurus is at 3 degrees, and you want to look to where this is happening personally in your birth chart to know where you might want to be setting fresh new intentions. If you have my planetary planner, you can just go to your Taurus pages and fill those out. And the thing about Taurus is it has to do with our voice. It also has to do with how we resonate and kind of can slow down and feel sensual in our bodies and connect in with the earth. What's interesting is that if you look in Greek mythology, the archetype for Uranus and the archetype for Gaia, the earth, when they come together, that's what reproduces. That's what, populated. Like if you're not like too religious, that's the idea with Greek mythology of like how things got populated was between Uranus and the earth. So they have a special relationship. So we have a whole cycle. I made a whole other video, I'm not going to go into it too much, about Uranus, this slower moving planet, but it has a really strange orbit, and it's in Taurus for a while. Okay, the last time it was in Taurus was the Great Depression. I talk all about that in my video, so check that out if you're interested, and I think I do a house by house in that as well. Okay, but when we have a new moon conjunct Uranus in Taurus, we are going to feel that slower transit that's taking place over, years. We're going to feel it amplified. And then if you look at what's happening in our world right now, and our relationship to money and our relationship to time, because this is square Saturn, this new moon is squaring Saturn in Aquarius. Now, Uranus rules Aquarius, and Saturn is over there in Aquarius. So it's really interesting the inner workings of how these things all fit together. But I just want to remind you guys that what is shifting and changing right now, Uranus, is our relationship to time and to money. And so we really want to be aware and conscious of what good shifts and changes we've had around our relationship to money and to time. And then beyond that, to Cancer's in its last, so it's in 0 degrees of, the North Node is in 0 degrees of Cancer. So this is the last lunation where we have the Cancer North Node, which is reminding us of how important our families are and how important time at home and bonding and caring for those most vulnerable in our population is, how important that is, right? That's what it's reminding us. And this is the last lunation. We're going to switch cycles. And I did a whole other video about that. So if you're not already tuned into my YouTube, definitely check out my videos there. The North Node will be changing into Gemini. It's going to shift a lot. And not only that, we're going to have, during this lunation, we are going to have Venus retrograding in Gemini, which I'm about to film that video. So that'll be out soon. Main points here is we have a very feminine influence saying, don't forget what you've learned during this time. Don't forget what's most important and be willing to fight for it. Be willing to stay conscious for it because nothing else matters. Truly, nothing else matters. And as we have these more masculine influences, Saturn in Aquarius squaring this new moon, it really is asking us if we can confront those deeper parts of ourselves that want to just function as normal, get back to business as usual, and really to be aware and conscious of what good came from this experience of slowing down and re-evaluating and re-getting in touch with your spiritual practices. So, Paco, come here. Come on. Lastly, I will just say that this lunation is a fixed cycle, and so whenever we have a fixed cycle, we're going to see people being stubborn in ways that aren't serving the greater good. And I'm not just talking about our president, and actually, I'm talking about the And we're even seeing some care physicians and care people in the healthcare system saying things need to change in the healthcare system. Things need to change in, the way we're treating patients, and the dogma and the old ways of doing things need to be reevaluated. And we're also seeing the resistance to that, and doctors being fired, nurses being fired. And so it's really important for all of us to stay aware that there are big lessons coming in right now about reintroducing the more flowy, feminine ways of doing things into all of our systems. And so I think we're going to see a lot of shifts and changes to that if we can stay conscious and we can stay in support of highest good, in support of highest truth, because ultimately, when we see a lot of people judging each other and we see a lot of people not feeling comfortable to speak their mind, it's a really dangerous thing. And this was a really interesting experiment in seeing who can actually keep their minds open and keep dialogue open without just completely shutting down. And this goes beyond political ties. This goes beyond a lot of things. So it's like, how can we really have our own relationship to truth, have our own relationship to what we know, and still be willing and able to hear each other, and still be willing and able to dialogue with people. And we also have Venus and Mars still in a trine with each other, and that's really showing us Venus again is preparing in Gemini to go retrograde, and Mars is in Aquarius. And so this is really all about information. And again, this is going to be highlighted with this Gemini Venus retrograde in Gemini, and then the North Node moving into Gemini. So really, this is the cycle to really slow down, take really good care of your body and your mind and your spirit, because once we move into the Sun in Gemini, which is a while, we have a little bit of time, we're really going to be much more busy and much more, our nervous systems are going to need a little more support. So this last half of April is really about taking good care of our bodies, taking good care of our minds, taking good care of our families, and just staying in that slow space, like being okay and knowing that we are not staying here forever, guys. We are not. And the more that you can have your own practice that tunes you in with your own truth and with your connection to the earth and to the sky, you're going to feel better in your body and your mind and your spirit. So definitely get outside, breathe the fresh air, and do what you need to do to take good care of yourself at this time. And lastly, I'll just say, make sure you're checking in on your elders, make sure you're checking in on your, your neighbors and all of that, because Cancer is really all about that nurturing, that last little bit of nurturing that we're learning. And so at this new moon, check in where it's happening in your house system, where 3 degrees of Taurus is happening. And then also, just so you guys know, I am taking 13 women on a journey through the feminine archetypes for embodiment and for personal power, and just like feeling into your truth, and really being able to call on those archetypes for your highest good and for helping others and being a leader in your community and your family. And excuse me, you can read allergies. You can read more about that through the link. I'll post it below. All right, have a great day, guys.